Just like this hairstyle and this oddly shaped mic needs a change, I think a lot of the actors that I mentioned in this video need a revamp in their career. There is a moment recently at an event that I attended in Mumbai that infuriated me. It was an event where Mukesh Chhabra had done a screening of 4 short films and in which Rajkumar Rao had appeared at the event to showcase his support for Chhabra, a casting director who has been instrumental in Rao's career. The anger stems from absolutely nothing related to the event, but the sheer vitriol Rajkumar Rao had received for his look at the event. I am on a very micro scale a public personality as well, and I am all in for the joke of getting trolled from what I mispronounce, how disheveled I look, how cockeyed I am, how my earlobes can be effective lampstands. But I cannot begin to imagine the sheer volume of trolling celebrities have to deal with, not on their talent, but on how they look, and I think there is a thin line where trolling transitions towards straight up bullying. The things got so bad with Rajkumar Rao's appearance at the event, with many people commenting things like "Ghee khatam ho gaya hai," or "What happened to Raj," or that he is aging terribly, that he had to literally clarify that he is preparing for a role. What's even more indicative of the short attention span of social media users is that when there were 2 images posted about the biopics Raj is working on, everyone focused on Saurabh Ganguly, trolling him further on how he looks nothing like Saurabh Ganguly, not realizing that his specific look is for the other picture in the same frame. This look of Rajkumar Rao is for the biopic on Ujjwal Nikam, a famous public prosecutor who has been involved in prosecuting suspects in the 1993 Bombay blast, the Gulshan Kumar case, and the 2008 Mumbai attacks, to name just a few in a career spanning over 3 decades. The caption literally states what Raj went through to get into the character of Nikam, but that doesn't suit the narrative of social media users who can't help but drag someone. The man literally said that now he has to shed kilos and get into Ganguly prep, but that's casually ignored. What's crazy is that Raj is exactly doing what an actor should, immerse himself in a variety of roles so that he doesn't get into the rut of repetition, something that he was recently getting dragged for with the portrayal of tier 2 heroes in Hindi cinema. Now that one actor is genuinely making the effort and actually being serious about the craft, we still find a way to troll them because it doesn't suit our conventional beauty standards. That's the point of being an actor, to surprise, to be unrecognizable, so much so that you forget even a sliver of their real personalities off camera. Remember seeing Randeep Hooda in Sarbjeet, how emaciated he looked, as if he genuinely was tortured in solitary confinement? Remember seeing Amir Khan in Dangal actually looking like a 60-year-old father of 4 with his big belly? Remember Raj himself in Trapped, genuinely coming across as someone who was secluded from the world, having zero access to food or water, transitioning into a deranged psychosis? This is what we should expect from actors. Yes, we should expect this from. Yes, this is the bare minimum. Like we talk about raising our dating standards and relationships, I think we should expect more from our actors. This mini rant in the introduction of the video and part defense for Raj genuinely made me think about actors who desperately need a revamp in Hindi cinema, where the appearances of these actors in their upcoming movies seem substandard, seem uninteresting, and mainly because you can see the actor just being on autopilot mode. You see the lack of effort in the manner in which they take up projects, you can't help but see their personalities emerge more than the characters they are portraying, and as a die-hard fan of these actors, just want them to change it up a bit and challenge themselves for a change. The actors that I will mention in the video are also those who have an ability to surprise audiences. The only way that can happen is if they tried. So here is Tried&Refused Productions with 10 Bollywood actors who desperately need a revamp. Pankaj Tripathi. I remember Pankaj Tripathi from the time when he featured in a blink and a miss role in Run. This is a man who a lot of people associate with the Hindi cinema dream, having put in the work with the craft and become a well-known name amongst the audience through sheer perseverance and a variety of roles. What however is undeniable is that Tripathi was known for his diversity initially, when there wasn't a casting choice made because of his popularity, but what he artistically brought to the table. This included intimidating roles in Gangs of Wasipur and Agnipath, and tender, effective and dramatic roles in movies like Neel Batte Sannata, Masan, and even Newton. What however happens with growing popularity, and something that I noticed with Pankaj Tripathi's iconic role as Kaleen Bhaiya in Mirzapur, is that a laid-back nature seemed to appear with his approach, leading to many of the performances across the board seeming like Tripathi was just there for the paycheck. This includes roles in movies like Bareli Ki Barfi, the Fukre franchise, Lukka Chuppi, Arjun Patiala, Drive, Bunty or Bubbly 2, and Murder Mubarak. While there were spurts of genuine inventiveness in movies like Stree and Kagas, a lot of the charm seems to transition to become routine, as if Tripathi was just clocking in and out of work. Something that he communicated recently in an interview with Anupama Chopra that took a toll on him, so much so that he took a break from saying yes to any project for quite some time.
बीच में हो गया था मुझे
Really?
कुछ प्रोजेक्ट में मैं दिन गिनने लगा था और मुझे लगा यार जिस पेशे से मैं इतना प्यार करता हूँ, सब कुछ कितनी कुर्बानियां दी आने के लिए, कितने संघर्षों से आया हूँ और उसी काम से आपको दिन गिनना पड़े, तो बहुत गलत है.
Aditya Roy Kapoor. This is an actor who I often get accused of giving preferential treatment to just because of how beautiful he is. I mean, I say this with utmost objectivity. Banda sundar to hai, jo bhi kaho. I rooted for him because there was a charm about him as a leading man in commercial cinema, especially creating unprecedented commercial hype with Aashiqui 2. This carried on with ventures like Ye Jawani Hai Deewani and personally an unpopular favourite of mine, Fitoor. However, due to an erratic career of associating with extremely mediocre projects and having momentary spikes of success, Aditya seems to be in a limbo of sorts with his career. There is an undeniable ease in his roles in movies like Ludo and Metro in the know, but something always lacking for that extra push to be ever considered to be a star. Maybe I say this only as an ardent viewer of movies. Maybe Aditya himself doesn't really care about his push as a leading bankable star, but I do somewhat gravitate towards this laid-back attitude that still has the ability to charm one's socks off. It may just be me actually, because I find many people who on the contrary feel like Aditya has a personality of a cardboard. Irrespective, I don't think that pivot really happens for Aditya, maybe because he doesn't want it himself. Akshay Kumar. It's absolutely wild on how the tide changes for certain actors in the Hindi film industry, because prior to Suryavanshi releasing in theatres, I was literally making videos on how whatever Akshay Kumar touches turns to gold. There were moments in recent history where the film industry was absolutely struggling, but it was Akshay Kumar who would genuinely provide some respite with his commercial hits. This has absolutely gone missing in the last few years, and I believe I equate it to the lack of surprises that come with not the choices he makes, but how it always seems like remnants of Akshay Kumar remain in the character. This may be owing to him not physically altering for any roles, a conscious choice he makes to not ruin his health, but barring Bachchan Pandey, you can't help but feel like his looks are interchangeable, and you know that is a problem when the list of movies also includes a period film like Samrat Prithviraj.
People don't want to see much serious films. I tried my level best to do a film like 8x10. Not even 4x2 people came in to watch it. So what am I supposed to do?
I think for the tide to flow in Akshay's favour again, there has to be a risk along the lines of Janwar or a menacing villain role that genuinely packs in a surprise versus Akshay just being on autopilot. Ajay Devgn. There was a meme floating around about Ajay Devgn recently with 4 images from his recent ventures that literally looked like the Rock meme of essentially making it absolutely impossible to decipher if the movies and the specific looks are in any way different. Ajay Devgn and his prowess as an actor is often associated with intensity, on how his dramatic roles have this undeniable impact, especially with his eyes that draw you in. But this has somewhat gone missing in his recent roles, where many times it seems like Devgn is just sleepwalking through the movie. This, coupled by Devgn's obsession in doing only installments of franchises no one wants reboots of, I see even the most diehard fans getting frustrated with this creative approach that Devgn has employed. Another star from the 90s who desperately needs a revamp because it's getting concerning and extremely repetitive. Sidharth Malhotra. You know, I have come to the conclusion that there are certain actors that you implicitly root for, not particularly because you see their artistic potential, but because you associate some of your formative years in seeing them getting launched. You often equate the memory of where you were with them versus actually believing that they have the ability to become bona fide stars. I can't help but feel like this about Sidharth Malhotra, an actor many people favored to become the next big thing in the VD versus Sid debates after Student of the Year, and the man is a beautiful example of peak Punjabi genetics, something that worked for movies like Hasi To Phasi and even action scenes in movies like Ek Villain and my unpopular favourite A Gentleman. But I think Sidharth, whenever challenged with a character far removed from what he is comfortable with, he struggles to make even basic emotions convincing on screen. You'll see this in dramatic moments of compelling movies like Kapur and Sons and Sher Shah, where Sidharth largely benefits from great technicians around him. Will he be able to change this decade-old perception with one? I guess we will have to wait and find out.
At times it is difficult. With our media today, they make it sound like the end of the world everywhere.
But I think if you have to be made of steel to survive this business, and I've survived 10 years, so I'm halfway there.
Absolutely.
Salman Khan. I'm at this point just tired. Tired of fighting or rooting for Salman Khan. Tired of fighting against people who say that he just doesn't care. Tired of arguing with people who tell me that the Battle of Galwan will fare the same way like his recent ventures because he simply does not give a damn. I'm tired because I see it. I see the sleepwalking, I see the lack of effort, I see the man barely even lip syncing for his music, I see him giving portfolios to people who are merely associated with him versus being equipped for the job, and I'm struggling to believe that there is merit to the argument that Salman's downfall creatively is that he feels compelled to do charity for those around him. The last few years, barring some moments in Tiger 3, have been tough to sit through, and when I see Salman defending the criticism on a show like Big Boss, almost communicating what he meant to do artistically when he looked back in the Battle of Galwan teaser to his troops hilariously, I also can't help but feel like he is holding on to straws at this point. There needs to be a director who takes complete creative reign with Salman now for there to be any change in his career trajectory today. If the 90s batch is unwilling to accept their age like Amitabh Bachchan and Anil Kapoor, who did a conscious pivot with their roles, then there has to be something extremely drastic that needs to be done to change the tide. Hrithik Roshan. There is another actor from the list. By merely mentioning him, it absolutely breaks my heart because I don't think there is anyone from the list who epitomizes being aesthetically suited for leading roles on a global level and someone who always backs it with his talent too. Hrithik is the perfect combination that justifiably caught everyone off guard when he was first launched. To look like that, to move like that, and to even back it up with acting chops was a needle in a haystack. And what has happened, at least in the last few years, especially since the pandemic, is that Hrithik is weighed down with this elusive expectations that he always describes of the audience just wanting to see him in aspirational leading roles. The same man who would do Agnipath and Guzarish, who would do War and Super 30, an impressive diversity in his filmography, believes the notion that the audience only wants to see him as the man who will save the day, leading to him pitching to producers these exorbitant budgets that are tough to procure and pull off. Both his projects, Krish and the one with Ombale, being in limbo, and I just begin to wonder why Hrithik just can't smell the coffee and do what he artistically wants to do. It'll at least get the ball rolling versus having so many gaps in between films that even dissipates the hype amongst the audience.
There have been many times where I have been unable to do something in a film because of the sheer awareness that I have to uphold the star factor in this film.
Ayushmann Khurrana. An actor who I believe is in a tier 2 lovable boy rut of sorts is Ayushmann Khurrana, and I say this only as an observer of his choices post the pandemic. See, Ayushmann is an interesting case because I think his choices are inventive and unique, but his performances are not immersive enough for one to completely forget Ayushmann off camera. This run of creative choices have hugely benefited Ayushmann, especially prior to the pandemic where he was termed as Mr. ROI, known for doing movies in a limited budget that would strike gold at the box office. The run and faith of the audience with Ayushmann movies was so strong that even wild swings like Article 15 would do massive business. However, everything has changed post the pandemic. Chandigarh Kare Aashiki tanking, one of my favorites, an action hero getting no patronage, and the worst of all, mediocre, irritating slop like Dream Girl 2 actually working in Ayushmann's favor. Now that I see the lineup of Ayushmann where he is doing the sequel of Pati Patni Aur Wo and a Suraj Barjatya directorial, I am left slightly lost whether these projects will lead to changing the course of Ayushmann's career and get him back on track. Tiger Shroff. This is another unpopular opinion because I believe Tiger and Vidyut have insane physical capabilities that it bums me out how Tiger only associates with producers and directors who are capable of making either Baghi or Heropanti. This is the classic case of believing that those who were instrumental in launching you can only further progress your career. Tiger's association with Sajid Nadiadwala was extremely successful till 2018. Many people forget about this, but Tiger had a 25 crore opening with Baghi too. Such was the hype associated with the Tiger release. But ever since the pandemic, Tiger's incessant flips and strip shows prior to engaging in action have only become repetitive. The plots of these movies are mostly borrowed from Tamil and Telugu movies, and they provide nothing unique as Tiger looks, acts, and finds himself in similar situations in every movie. If the likes of Stallone, Van Damme, and Schwarzenegger could still have flourishing acting careers despite their limited range, I think the problem lies not in Tiger's ability on camera, but the choices he is making. There is a reason why people missed him in War 2. Finally, the last choice, Govinda. If the likes of Bobby Deol and Akshay Khanna can have a mad comeback in commercial movies, kids who never grew up with their initial filmography finally being introduced to them and slightly being blown away by the fact that their second innings took so long, then I think Govinda deserves a third innings. I say third because after his success in the 90s, Govinda suffered through the 2000s with mediocre work, actually benefiting largely commercially because of his collaborations with Salman Khan and Akshay Kumar in Partner and Bhagam Bhag. What, however, has followed in the 2010s is unintentionally funny and embarrassing ventures. Live performances on stages where one can't help but simply feel bummed out that a man so versatile finds himself at such crossroads in life that he has to resort to such depressing work. Govinda's comeback in something absolutely dramatic or a comedy role for the ages would be phenomenal.
अवतार टाइटल मैंने ही दिया था.
And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below which are the Bollywood actors according to you who desperately need a revamp. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handles are right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.